This is the decline of youth sports. In a world full of people that are waiting to put pressure on their shoulders as soon as they turn 18, shouldn't youth sports be a place where kids can go to have fun and socialize in a healthy and safe environment? Unfortunately, this is not the case, as more than 70% of kids in recent times are dropping out of youth sports before the age of 13. This is drastically different from other times in history, as the pressure to perform has been blown out of control by people who should want the best for these kids. I have personally played youth sports my whole life, and I am one of the few that stayed on the path to playing a college sport. Along the way, I saw this happen firsthand though. Most of my friends that I grew up playing multiple sports with throughout my whole life experienced burnout from sports around high school age, and they lost their desire to keep playing because of the mental tolls that they had to endure. Youth sports has become a toxic environment where it used to breed excitement and wonder in young children. We need to focus on making sure kids are having fun instead of putting unwanted pressure on them way too early in their lives. Now that you know the basics, we should move on to what has happened to lead in the decline of youth sports. The United States is one of the only countries that deals with this problem, being compared to places like Europe, where kids are encouraged to play as many sports as they want and to not take it too seriously if they do not want to. According to an article in the US Today, youth sports have become a job for these kids, as they have to make their parents feel like it's a worthwhile investment. Youth sports have become less fun and more about the concept of what success is from an adult's perspective rather than a child's one. Instead of making friends and memories, they have to try to win in a sport that they may not even like very much. I'm sure most of you have played youth sports and probably have some good memories from it too, but this is something that we don't want to continue for our kids to have to experience as well. Obviously, the culture of the US has made it difficult for kids to focus on just having fun, as they have to try to make their parents proud. This goes into my next point, as parents are the main problem in this situation, as they push too much on their kids way too early on. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, the AAP, parents invest significant time and money in their kids to train with teams and buy their uniforms. They expect results. In the same article by the American Academy of Pediatrics, AAP, parents have by far the most influence on their kids' choices and choose this for them. Parents take the responsibility to drive their kids to practices and games, pay for their equipment, but they don't have to deal with the mental stress to consistently get better and perform for their parents. I'm sure that most parents ultimately mean well when they put their child into a sport, but after hearing about this, I hope you see the strain they can put on someone that doesn't know any better. Obviously, it seems like some parents have taken it too far in recent years, but it's not just on them, as people with all the influence have prioritized making money for themselves over these kids having genuine fun. Throughout the years, having to pay for youth sports has become commonplace if you want to have a good experience with it, and that's just a bad place to be in as a parent. I remember as a kid trying to play as many sports as I can, not thinking about the fact that my parents had to pay for all the equipment, travel, paying for the coaches to stay on road trips, etc. Looking back now, I can see how much of a strain it was on them and how they had no other choice and were kind of roped into doing that. In his Time magazine article, Sean Gregory states that the U.S. sports economy, which includes everything from travel to private coaching to apps that organize leagues and live stream games, is now a $15.3 billion market. This only continues to grow rapidly every year, as in 2030 it is projected to be worth $70 billion. Eventually, when all of us become parents and have families, we will have to face this reality where you give money to a corrupt system in hopes that it will not reach your child. But it doesn't have to be that way if we don't want it to. Now that you have all the facts, it's time to wrap it up. Youth sports originally started out for the right reasons, and it's no secret that it's turned on its head in recent years because of some people's greed. Parents are not off the hook for this either, as they have the most influence on their children, and many times they fail to understand the stress that they are putting on the backs of their kids. But they are in a tight spot, as well as being forced to spend a vast sum of their hard-earned money on sports that should be free to play. In the future, I hope that we can see the rise of youth sports once again, with the focus being on the kids participating and not the people on the sidelines. There is no reason to think that we cannot change our ways and mold our system to be something that we can be proud of, but it will take time and the right people to do it. So, are you in for the cause? Thank you.